Hi, welcome to Blinkity Bloop. I'm Drew D'Amelia.
And I'm Nick Padula.
And this is a podcast where we talk about movies that have come out recently. And let me just tell you this. Movies, they're good things, right?
Yeah, it's like paintings, and those are culturally significant.
Yeah, it's art stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really our thing, but we can definitely see the value in them.
Yeah, our thing is music.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, if you want to listen to music, I would recommend checking out the band Blinkity Bloop.
I think we have something for everyone. We cover all styles of music, and, no matter what walk of life you come from, I think you could come to appreciate Blinkity Bloop, the band, not the podcast.
Yeah, just to be clear,
yeah,
they're both named Blinkity Bloop.
Yeah. I
just wanted to point out that, movie people have a Blinkity Bloop, but music people, they also have their own Blinkity Bloop.
And that's another example of how we cover multiple things for multiple people. We're like Renaissance men of our age.
Yeah, except we did the band of our own volition. We're doing the podcast more for Mrs. Sealand and Fisher Mist Media.
Right, so we can get the...
Yeah, but, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Today, we have what may be our last round, at least for the foreseeable future, of Grab Bag.
Oh, man.
Which is not as entertaining as I might be making it sound. Essentially, we take movies that we've seen recently, we put them in this hat that I have before me, and we take turns fishing one out and talking about it. So it adds a little bit of spice into our fun review show here.
Yes.
And Nick, as always, I'm going to pass the hat to me!
Oh, snap!
So I can pass it to you.
Oh. You threw me for a loop there.
You know me. I'm always...
Oh, always what?
I lost my train of thought.
Okay. That's cool.
Oh, right. Throwing people for a loop.
Oh, yes. Okay. So this movie threw me for a loop.
Oh!
On multiple levels.
Whoa!
You know M. Night Shyamalan?
No.
Well, he's a filmmaker who is known for movies that have twists in their narratives. And he has a little brother named M.
Loops?
M. Day Shyamalan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this is his movie, his first debut film.
What was it called?
Well, it was called First Man.
Wow.
I thought that was Damien Chazelle, but...
Damien Chazelle? You mean the person that did Whiplash?
Yeah.
And La La Land?
Yeah, I thought it was
and
that
Sherlock
guy.
Gnomes?
What? What was that last one?
Oh, sorry, no, I get them mixed up.
Them being Damien Chazelle and
I get Whiplash and La La Land mixed up with one movie being Sherlock Gnomes.
I mean, they have very similar styles, so I can see where you're coming from.
I mean, who wouldn't watch Sherlock Gnomes and see, well, this is a lot like Whiplash and La La Land at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can almost, if you put them next to each other on a screen, I wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
No. But First Man, Nick!
Yes.
Nick?
Yeah?
What'd you think of First Man? How did you feel about it? I want to know your feelings.
Well, my feelings were... Is it almost over?
Really?
Not the whole time. It was more like halfway through, and I was just like, when is he gonna get in the moon?
Yeah, I don't want to say there wasn't much of a story to tell.
It was an essential story, for sure. It needed to be told. It wasn't always the most compelling. I mean, the fact that astronauts were dying left and right was very, tense, but I don't know. It didn't seem as interesting as it could be, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's essential historically, but I almost wonder, is it essential storytelling? Because here are the things that I thought were compelling about it. There was one thing that really stood out to me, and that was, I believe there were 2, maybe 3 sequences where you really visually were thrown into the intensity and claustrophobia of being in one of these space missions, specifically when things were going wrong. And that wasn't like anything I had really seen cinematically before, just being there, essentially. That's what it felt like. And that I liked a lot. That felt like a reason to do a movie like this.
Yeah.
And in terms of the writing, I suppose the most compelling thing was the fact that so many astronauts were dying.
Yeah, that was what I found most compelling.
Yeah,
Just like you never heard about this, I feel like. It was just like, oh, they went to the moon and everything was fine. The only time it didn't go fine was Apollo, 13?
82.
Apollo 82? That was the number?
I'm very smart.
Anyways, for the most part, what you hear most often from pop culture is like, oh, we went to space and nothing bad happened before that, and then only one bad thing happened after that. But in reality, people got fucking blown up in space all the time, or like launching, and all sorts of shit can go wrong.
Yeah. I think one of the most compelling scenes for me, just in terms of the writing, was when Neil Armstrong basically had to tell his children that he might not come back from the mission.
Yeah, that was really good.
And I feel like that's where the meat of the story was just, I almost feel like they're at odds with each other in a weird way, because one of them is just about how space travel is horrifying.
Yeah.
And that there's so much risk.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is kind of in a way glorifying space. But I don't know. Because technically I said the two things that I found the most compelling were the cinematic moments where shit was really going off the rails.
Yeah.
And how dangerous this is and how people are dying. Those two do seem like they gel really well together. But ultimately, this is a story of success. Like, hey, he landed on the moon. Hooray. And honestly, that aspect of the movie, the actual moon landing, it didn't really appear like much went wrong at all.
No.
It went mostly pretty smoothly, so I get that historically that is likely how it happened, but
Yeah.
It didn't feel like there is that overcoming of a great obstacle yet, because I feel like a lot of this movie built up like, this is really dangerous, scary shit.
Yeah.
And then you finally get to, we're going to the moon. And it's like, oh, well, that was easy.
Without a hit. Like, oh, there was a little bump back there in space, but we're good.
I don't know. I guess you don't feel how amazing that was. And I guess it's because you stopped feeling how dangerous it was because things were going smoothly.
Yeah.
And yet, I mean, that's the thing. I wouldn't want them to change how it happened, really.
No,
So it just makes me wonder, was this really a great story? And Neil Armstrong, I don't know if Ryan Reynolds was doing an accurate incarnation of Neil Armstrong, but is kind of a boring guy.
He could have been boring in real life. As I was watching, I was like, I should watch interviews with the real Neil Armstrong to see what he was like, and I just forgot because Neil Armstrong was so boring.
Then maybe, listen, he might be historic, and that's fine, and we can remember him. Maybe we don't want to watch him in a movie, though.
Yeah.
Hello, it's me. I went to the moon. Well, it's really exciting. Can you tell us about it? Well, I took my foot. It was my left one. And I put it onto the moon. And then I picked it up. And I looked at my foot. Excuse me.
Ooh, sorry.
I'm telling you my historic epic.
Oh, yeah, continue.
And so I put my left foot back down.
He falls asleep telling his own story. Oh, I'm sorry. I really can't. Oh.
So I don't know. I had great expectations for this because I loved Whiplash and I loved La La Land. But this wasn't written by Damien Chazelle. Damien Chazelle technically wrote but did not direct 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I also really liked.
Oh, wow.
He did that with 2 other people, so it wasn't completely him. But yeah, I had been really into all the things Damien Chazelle wrote, but I liked his directing because those tense scenes were really great. But the story itself, because this guy wrote Spotlight, and I enjoyed Spotlight. That really felt like a story
that needed to be told.
Yeah. But I don't know. Honestly, I think that it's a case of people think this is a movie that needs to be made because it's really historic. And I guess people would argue, well, you have to make something about the moon landing. And they did. And I guess they did a fine enough job.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's going to really care that much about it. And that's it.
I don't know if it'll get any Academy bait, because, like, you find, like, Neil Armstrong, like, there was a scene where it was right in the beginning of the movie where he finds out his daughter died, and I'm just like, wow, that'll get some really complex emotions out of Ryan Gosling, and he's just, like, blank-faced a lot of the time. My daughter. And maybe Neil Armstrong acted like that when his daughter died in real life, and maybe that's enough to make the Academy go, hey, when you compare this footage of Neil Armstrong at his daughter's funeral and Ryan Gosling in the movie, they're identical.
Yeah, the great archive of footage of Neil Armstrong crying at his dead daughter.
Classic footage.
What do you think boring crying sounds like?
I'm so sad.
Well, you know what makes me really sad?
What?
This next movie that I'm about to pick.
Oh, is it a tearjerker?
It jerked a lot of things.
Oh, whoa.
All of those things were tears.
Okay, well, I thought you were implying something sexual.
What? No.
Okay.
Get your mind out of the dick hole.
You mean the gutter?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, this tearjerker of a movie is Have a Nice Day.
Did it earn that title, or was it...
Let me tell you about Have a Nice Day. I'm sorry.
So emotional.
You just go to pick up Chinese food, see the bag, break down crying. Please leave the store.
Those were the last words my father said to me before he died in that Zamboni accident.
I don't know. Honestly, I just pictured it. I'm picking up a bag of Chinese food. Mm-hmm. Something about that, at least in this moment right now, seems so bleak. Like, I would just stand there, look at the smiley face on the bag, have a nice day, think about it for a few seconds, and then blow my brains out. Like,
No, you'd suffocate yourself with the bag.
Yes.
So you'd have a smiley face when the cops find you.
But
and the cops kill themselves.
It'd be an upside down smiley face.
So it'd be like a frown.
It'd be all wrong.
It would reverse the curse so they wouldn't kill themselves.
Well, that's why you gotta make these bags with the smiley face upside down so when you kill yourself with the bag, that it's on right. Come on!
Obvious. Amateur. Anyway, Have a Nice Day. What was it about?
It was animated.
Oh, that's
Did you know that?
No.
It's a movie I'd wanted to see.
Okay.
It came from China, I believe. And I think that it was pretty risque for China because it was a very dark comedy.
They do like to censor things over there.
Yeah, and it was just... It was a great little narrative, really. It was an ensemble piece, and it just involved everyone going after money. It was a very simple thing.
Okay.
And the way that characters intertwined with each other and the fates of the characters, it was just all compelling, yet a good, interesting cast of characters. It's just a really solid movie. The animation was fascinating because it was really, really low budget. I mean, there were some shots where nothing moved. And you'd think, well, that surely is going to be really distracting and annoying, but it'd just be really interesting. The way they'd frame things, like, for instance, there might be a door in the shot, and someone's supposed to knock on the door, but they might show it from an angle where you don't even have to animate the hand knocking, and you just hear the sound effect.
Oh.
And it gives the illusion of movement that's not actually there because of what I assume is a low budget.
Yeah.
And it also looks kind of crude too, but honestly, it didn't bother me because I was into the story.
And it was the aesthetic kind of the whole thing, so you adjusted to it.
Yeah, and I really liked the way that everything wrapped up. It was just a satisfying, fun movie. Short too. It was a short movie.
Oh.
But the problem is...
What?
It wasn't in English.
No!
And it was a cartoon.
Those are for babies.
It was pretty violent.
Ooh.
I mean, when I say dark, it was dark. I mean, there were guns and bloods.
Wow.
And dyes.
Wow, usually you You don't see that in the animations.
Yeah, it was there, though. Just like in The Boss Baby and Sherlock Gnomes.
Those are brutal.
Ferdinand.
Yep.
Captain Underpants.
Yep.
All recent animated examples of horrific violence depicted in the silver
It's
screen.
hard to even get into.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you'll have a nice day watching this movie.
Okay.
I'm not totally sure why it's called Have a Nice Day now that I think about it.
Did anyone say it in the movie?
I don't remember. It's probably just an ironic thing.
Because it was a bad day?
I don't think people were having a nice day. It's got to be tough to have a nice day when someone's trying to kill you. But, maybe that's just my fault for being too weak-minded. There are definitely strategies that you can use to make your brain stronger, to develop mental strength. And
Yeah.
I think that people that are living their life in fear and feeling very anxious because someone's trying to kill them, you just got to work at it. Come on. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps.
Just be more optimistic.
Exactly. Here you go, buddy.
All
I'm
right.
optimistic that you're going to pick another great movie for us to talk about.
I'm sure I will. All right. Oh, well, you shouldn't have been optimistic because this is
Uh-oh.
a bad one.
Stinker?
Oh, it's a real dookie.
Oh, I can already smell it.
Like at the box office, it did so bad that they had to make a new box office, and it was a reverse box office.
Oh, wow.
And it's the worst movies of the week, and they made negative money.
Pooh Tinky, that stinks.
Yep. Anyways, this was the worst movie of the week, and it was Smallfoot.
How dare you? Take that back. I want to hear a public apology right now.
I mean, the facts say it right there, and if you look it up, it made negative money.
Listen, I want to hear you say, I, Nick Padula, love Smallfoot with all my heart.
Well, I can't say that in good conscience anyway because I didn't actually see it, and it didn't actually make negative money because it's a kid's film, and kids' films always make bank even when they're fucking dumb.
Nick, repeat after me. I, Nick Padula, loved Smallfoot.
did not see Smallfoot.
No, loved Smallfoot.
Avoided Smallfoot.
Loved Smallfoot.
Went out of my way to not see Smallfoot.
With all my heart.
With all my heart.
Wait a minute, hey!
Gotcha!
Oh!
Zing! Bazing.
Oh!
I have to kill myself now.
No, make sure you use the proper bag. All right, so Smallfoot. We've teased Smallfoot for quite a bit for some fucking reason.
The build-up better be worth it.
Yeah, so are you ready, Nick?
I'm so ready.
Are you ready to give your opinion on Smallfoot?
I'm ready based entirely on trailers I've seen.
Okay, well, Smallfoot was a musical. We've said this before, but we'll say it again in case people want to be surprised by that. Now, you might be asking yourself, are these great songs that I can really jam out to? Nope. There's 4 songs, and they're all really bad. But you might be thinking, okay, tell me about the story. What's this story about? It sounds like it's the Yetis meet humans. That sounds pretty crazy.
It does.
I mean, I suppose you had moments where it was like, uh-oh, we got a Yeti in the human world. That's not good. And you'd think that thered be a lot of conflict. But there wasn't.
Oh.
There was a little bit at the end. It was like, uh-oh, the humans are going to find us. You better run away. And that was it. It's just a really boring story. I didn't care about anything. There is one interesting aspect.
Okay.
Is that the Yetis, which lived in a different land, they had a boss or a king or whatever that essentially said, humans are evil and this is why. And he had this fake religion or whatever.
Oh.
Then it was found out that it was a fake religion and some of them were actually okay and that things have been made up. But the king or whatever said, well, here's the thing. I have to lie to protect them because there is a history of humans killing some Yetis. And so it asked this really profound question of whether or not it was okay to lie to a group of people to protect them.
Oh, that is kind of interesting.
It was. I don't
And
think
they-
it belonged in a movie like this because
No.
it's just a boring story. Again, the real meat of it is, we got humans and yetis, and it's like the Monsters Incorporated thing. You know what I mean? Except Monsters Incorporated did it so much better.
I could tell, probably.
Like, because I was trying to think, like, what kind of movie should they have made with the concept? Like, they already did Monsters Incorporated.
Okay,
Like,
we're good. We're good. We're all set. We don't need to try another one ever again.
I mean, maybe they could find a different angle, or maybe they could do it with a different style. You do Monsters Incorporated as a musical with Yetis. I mean, fuck it. I don't know.
Do a sequel to Shape of Water with a bunch of fishmen.
Also, James Corden, I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I think that Carpool Karaoke is probably giving him a bit of a bad rep, but I tend to enjoy him. Not in this.
Oh.
Not in this. He did a cover of Under Pressure.
Ooh.
That was quite unpleasant to listen to.
Ooh, Jesus. So were the songs in this just
No,
covers?
that was the only one that was a cover.
Okay.
And I believe that counted as one of the 4.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure.
That should not count as a musical then.
It's enough. I'd say you only really need... Oh, no, that's not true. I was going to say you only need one instance of someone breaking out in a song for it to be a musical, but we can argue. But
I'd say 7 or 8.
I feel like 3 counts. 3 feels like a kind of golden number there. Even 2, but I feel like 3 is like, okay, I think this is a musical at this point. Characters have now sung 3 whole times. Yeah. I will say one of the musical numbers was a rap song, which is always nice to see. Hey, look, rap is music.
Just like, hey, people are acknowledging that. That's nice.
Yeah, it's good to be reminded of that.
Yep.
But, I mean, Danny DeVito was in it. That was nice.
Gasp.
And Zendaya, of course, is in the movie.
Naturally. I mean, she's in all animated films ever.
Yeah. One thing that I liked that you saw a little bit of in the trailers was this concept of, and this was just fun cinematically, Channing Tatum, the main Yeti, would go, "Hello, it's me. I'm a Yeti. How you doing, human?" But then from the human's perspective, it'd be
Yeah.
just fun. We've seen that before with, of course, Garfield, The Tale of Two Kitties, where, Garfield would be saying something and it'd be meows. I'm making that up. You fucking know the trope, though, with pets and shit.
Yeah.
But what was interesting was seeing the reverse of that, is that to the Yetis, a human talks and goes, "Oh, fuck, it's a Yeti. Oh, no, I've pooped in my pants. My pants have pieces of my poop in them. Oh, no." But to the Yeti is, I thought, okay, that's interesting because usually I imagine the perspective would be from a puppy's, not a Yeti's. So a human might be, but it's interesting having humans sort of be these inferior, cute creatures to Yetis. That was something that was entertaining.
Yeah.
Again, they didn't do much with it. I feel like the things they had to work with, 3 things. They had the compelling moral question of whether or not it was okay to lie to people to protect them.
Yeah.
They had the, Yetis and humans mixing. Oh, jeez. And they had that interesting visual thing with humans and Yetis having a different communication style.
Yeah.
And they just did not push any of the only 3 interesting things in this movie. And then other things were in it. I didn't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they happened. I went, okay. Thank you, please. Come again.
Sounds about right.
So, Smallfoot. Remember, Nick Padula can be quoted as having said, "I, Nick Padula, love Smallfoot with all my heart." Okay? I didn't like it very much, but Nick over here, he seems to have had a pleasant time.
I think I'm being misrepresented here, and I'd appreciate you clearing the record and telling the people the truth.
Okay, but here's how you can tell that I am being serious, because I sound quite energetic right now and enthused, but you over there, you sound like a real Neil Armstrong. I'm just saying. And so who are people going to gravitate toward? The person with pizzazz or the person that walked on the moon? Come on.
Yeah, I guess you got a point there. I can't really argue.
Yeah. You know what I think is going to make you more energetic, though, Nick?
What?
This movie that you picked from this hat.
We'll find out.
Just kidding. It's my turn.
Oh man.
Wow.
You really got me that time.
Yeah,
Whoa.
you're destined to not be energetic anymore.
Ah, jeez. Yep. Well, back to the whole drawing board of.
I gotta say though, this movie pumped me up quite a bit.
Oh, really?
I was just over the moon of energy.
The place where Neil Armstrong landed, supposedly.
Oh shit! Yeah, yeah. You
bringing
know,
it back.
You know that there's lots of energy on the moon because Neil Armstrong was.
He was a very energetic boy.
I like the idea of a very boring man being the one that went onto the moon.
Did something historically significant and just like.
No.
It's just like imagining if like George Washington was just a terrible spokesperson, like, all right, we're gonna go to war with the British, and we're gonna make a country. All right, let's go.
I feel like you want the person that lands on the moon to be like, whoa, this is the fucking moon! Holy shit! And he's just like, yes.
One small step for man, one giant leap for.
Yeah, it should have been like that. The real quote should have been like, "I'm fucking stepping on the fucking moon." That's the fucking quote in the history textbooks.
I can suck an alien's dick up here.
Holy shit, guys! It's the moon. Look at me go!
I can flip you off from space now.
I'm the first man on the moon.
You fucking bitches. Anyway, what's the movie?
Oh, the movie that pumps me up and filled me with energy?
Yeah.
Well, that, of course, was Hold the Dark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You don't say. Well,
I do say.
now that you mention it, that was a movie I saw on Netflix.
Oh.
It was a Netflix original film.
Well, to me, I interpret it as Hold the Dark. Dark is, it's often associated with gloom, despair, things that sort of bring you down. So Hold the Dark is like if you're at a restaurant, I'd like this burger, but hold the mayo. They held the dark and just left nothing but the happy feels.
Please hold the eternal void. Please hold the abyss.
Can you take the abyss off of my chicken sandwich, please?
Can you remake it without the crushing emptiness of existence?
Unfortunately.
It's cooked into the burger.
Yeah, it's pre-made. Okay. That's why I'm ordering it anyway. So Hold the Dark was about a fast food restaurant, you said?
Yep.
Wow.
No, it was actually about a hunter in the Alaskan wilderness trying to find a missing boy who was taken away by wolves. And everyone expected the boy to be dead because wolves generally aren't nice to boys because they're so edible. For wolves, not people.
I mean...
It's an important distinction.
Okay.
So, this guy's going into the woods fully expecting to find a little boy body. And,
He finds Ronald McDonald.
Yep. And Ronald McDonald is covered in blood and just he's holding, like, child bones. Like, oh, I could explain.
I've made the first Happy Meal.
It's made of children.
Nothing is happier than children.
Jesus Christ.
Yikes!
So, yeah, this hunter dude, he's used to civilization, and he wrote a book about hunting and how he went on another quest once to track down a wolf that killed another kid, and he said he felt bad for the wolves because it's in their nature, and they can't help it because mankind is pushing in on their home, and they're running out of food because mankind is destroying the environment where they would normally be able to hunt freely. So they're left with no option but to eat people. And the most vulnerable people are little baby boy kids and girls. It was an interesting perspective on things because normally you're like, oh, fucking animals eating kids, fucking assholes. But they don't choose to, eat kids. It's forced upon them. But, so he goes to this weird town with like very little technology that's cut off from the rest of the world, very isolated, and he's hanging out with the kid's mom, and she's very strange and off. She's like, my son's dead. If you could bring him back for my husband when he gets back home, that'd be cool. He's in the war right now. And then it cuts to him in, like, the Middle East shooting people. And I'm just like, it's kind of breaking. It's not really... It doesn't feel as much like a... Because it's clearly like a thriller mystery. And then you see, like, 10 minutes of him, like, mowing down Middle Eastern people. And
Is
it's
it
just
related to the thriller mystery?
I mean, he does come back to Alaska, so it's relevant. It just felt like a change in tone.
Okay.
So it was a bit jarring, but it established him as a character. And one of the weird things the mom did is when the hunter guy's, going to sleep for the night, he's staying at her house because they don't have hotels in this weird, creepy village. She gets naked and just sleeps next to him. And it's not sexual or anything. She just, like, wanted to be held, I guess. And the other weird thing she did is she killed her son.
Why wouldn't she wear her pajamas?
That was the best follow-up question.
All right, so she killed her son.
And
what'd he do wrong?
The kid didn't do anything.
Did he not eat his supper?
She just snapped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so the hunter guy is just like, yeah, I went out in the woods and the wolves weren't eating, kids. They were so desperate for food, they were eating their own cubs. So they didn't even resort to kids. They jumped right from people to cannibalism. So I don't know, that was a tough decision, I feel like, for the wolves to be like, let's skip that species that's destroying our environment and eat our own instead. I feel sorry for those cubs.
That's crazy, but you know what they say, it's always easier to eat people that you know personally.
Than strangers?
No, I'm fucking that up. I think it's like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Is
that
what
is
I meant to say.
They're easily mixed up. They're two classic colloquialisms. Is that the word, colloquialism?
Sure.
Okay. Idiom maybe is the word I'm looking for.
Listen, all I'm saying is that is interesting, actually, that wolves would resort to eating their own young before eating another species.
Yeah. Also because that species is potentially harder to kill when it's the adults.
Did that factor into the mom's decision to kill the son? Was she...
No, she killed the son because she just kind of snapped. And then the husband gets back home.
Ooh.
And he's like, honey, I'm home. And she's not home. She already ran away at this point.
Okay.
So, the sheriff and everyone is like, hey, your son's dead and your wife did it. And he's just like, oh. And then he shoots the sheriff and his deputies and, like, all the witnesses on the scene who told him this. And he's clearly got issues of his own, so they're clearly the perfect couple. So he goes on a murder quest to track down his wife, and every spot she goes to with people in it, he generally kills those people. And he wears a weird wooden wolf mask carved by Native Americans when he does it.
It doesn't sound like they held the dark.
The dark was not held back.
So what happened to the hunter character?
The hunter guy was trying, now that he was pretty disappointed to be like, because he went down into their basement and he's just like looking for something. He's like, hey, what's this wrapped up thing? And he unwraps, he's like, that's a human boy corpse. In those exact words.
These aren't the Cracker Jacks.
So then, like, she was out at the moment, probably because she was already fleeing at that point. And so, he was the one that told the cops. And the husband, before he went on his killing spree, was like, you're the one who found him? And he's like, yeah, is there anything I can do for you to help? And he's like, or can you raise the dead? And he's like, no, then you can't do anything. And I'm just like, well, he can offer you some emotional support, you idiot. Just like, you know what? I'm sorry about your son, but, don't go on a massacre. But he didn't think to offer that support. That could have stopped a whole bunch of killing.
Come on. Mental health is a serious thing.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to reach out when you're about to go on like a murder spree.
What was the fate of the two murderers?
They, he managed to track down his beloved, and it looked like he was going to kill her, and he started choking her, and she looked like she accepted it, but then they started kissing. So I guess he was okay with their son getting murdered?
Nice. Looks like they're just gonna make another one.
Yeah, just like, take two.
It's just it's cyclical.
Yeah, and they shot an arrow into the hunter guy because the army dude is a better hunter than the hunter. But they let him live. They killed mostly everyone else, which was a bummer. And
why'd they let the hunter live?
Because to witness their whatever the fuck they were doing, and because he was just kind of doing his job. Well, everyone else was doing their job too, because he was the main character. That's why they let him live. Yeah, that was Hold the Dark.
Cool. Well, there's something I'd like you to hold for me.
Okay.
This hat.
Okay, I'll hold it. But what do I do with it?
You don't know what to do with a fucking hat?
Well, I was kind of making a joke there, but
you pull a movie out of it.
Yeah,
you dumbass.
I know. I was trying to.
What else would you possibly do with the hat?
I was being sarcastically dumb. I knew what to do. I was just trying to make a joke.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Okay, all right. Anyway, okay. Next movie. This had some tense moments too, but what was weird is it was a kids movie, and generally kids movies don't get too tense because you're like, oh, it's gonna have a happy ending and everything will work out. But this actually had a little lovable puppy character reminiscent of Snoopy develop brain cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, it dealt with some heavy topics for a kids movie. I was very pleasantly surprised at heavy themes handled in such a nuanced way.
All right, this is a very specific movie. As always, you only watch the specific movies, Nick.
Yep, exactly. And this movie was Uncle Drew.
Oh. Is it finally time to talk about Uncle Drew?
We've been holding on to this one for a while.
Uncle Drew's been in the hat for quite some time. Oh.
Yep.
Well, I saw Uncle Drew.
You sure did, and I did not.
I felt an obligation to see it.
Why? Because you're an uncle?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe? I am Drew, though.
Yeah, that's okay. Well,
and
that
I
makes
may
sense,
one day become an uncle.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I felt I've got to see Uncle Drew.
It's true, you do. You're obligated.
It was fucking terrible.
Oh, man, even with Shaquille O'Neal?
Well, here's the thing. You had a bunch of people that were not old playing old people. And I suppose this could be done in an effective way with talented people. But instead, they had a shit makeup team and athletes that didn't act very well. So it just looked really distractingly bad. But you might be thinking, hey, that doesn't matter as long as you have a great story. You didn't?
Oh.
This is a story about how old people were playing basketball and they were good.
I wish they got actual old people and kept it authentic.
Nope.
Because, if it's athletes, then they wouldn't even be funny necessarily. So, I feel like at least getting talented old actors would work in the movie's favor.
I feel like that's the joke, is that, look, it's these athletes that are not that old, but they're pretending to be, but look, they're very good at basketball, so you basically can't even tell that they're old.
So I
don't get it. Why were they old?
The only joke the whole time is hey, look at these old people slam dunk. Isn't that hilarious? And I feel like that gag would run out pretty quick.
I'm not even sure why it's funny.
It's just funny seeing old people do feats of agility or strength, I guess.
Isn't that amazement? Is there actual comedy to that? I feel like it's wow, an 80-year-old woman ran a marathon. I'm like, I instead I go, oh wow, that's impressive.
I wish I could do that.
Like,
yeah.
is that a comedy premise? Is this funny? I don't think this is funny.
Maybe okay, so I guess maybe their comedy like setup was that, and the fact that it's like young people and old people makeup, which still isn't that funny.
That was supposed to be the big joke. Honestly, it would have played just as well to just have them all pretend to be women, like ooh, like oh, this is really great. Thank you. May I have another, please?
Please, sir, may I have some more Uncle Drew?
There is one subplot that was so bad it was almost jaw-dropping. Basically, these two mainish characters had some sort of a beef. Now, they're playing on the same team, but something happened in their past where they just did not like each other.
Yeah.
They're talking about this constantly. They keep referencing it. You just don't know what's going on, but boy, there's some sort of beef here, and you can smell it. It's pretty meaty.
It's some strong beef.
So then in one scene, they visit a grave, and it's like, hey, remember when you slept with the girl that I liked? Yeah, I did, and she's dead now, but I'm sorry I did that.
Oh.
Thanks. Let's be friends now. And I was like, is that it? Like, they just, all they did was talk about it for, I think, less than a minute. Just like, okay, we're friends now. Wow, that was... Man, I'm glad that wasn't extremely easy to resolve. Otherwise, I'd feel like my time was wasted!
Was Nick Kroll one of those characters?
No, Nick Kroll was supposed to be a basketball player, which... Yeah.
It's about as believable as old people being basketball players.
Pretty much. I mean, in any other movie, it'd be less believable, but it's like, wow, that's quite realistic in this movie. But he did the jokes, and...
Okay. And they didn't land?
Well, I mean, when you're doing improv in a shit movie with a shit story, it's only going to be so good. Because, the best improv comes from bolstering a great story.
Right.
But it's like putting sprinkles on a piece of shit. Like, well, it's not going to make it taste much better. Like,
but I still got to eat it.
So, Uncle Drew was just an unfunny piece of shit.
You could say it was Uncle Pooh.
No, he was called Uncle Drew.
No, but I was saying because you called it a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Uncle Pooh, and poo is another word for shit.
Yeah, I know that.
So it was a play off Uncle Drew, because Drew rhymes with poo.
Why would you fucking say that to me?
Because I was trying to make a joke.
You're saying my name rhymes with poo?
I mean, it's a fact. I'm not trying to insult your name. It just happens to line up that way.
You're comparing me to poo.
No, I'm not comparing you to poo. I'm saying something rhymes with it. It doesn't necessarily mean...
Your name rhymes with sick, so you make people sick. That's just how it is.
Okay.
You know what else makes me sick?
What?
This movie that I'm about to pick.
Like nauseated?
Which also rhymes with Nick.
Huh.
You prick.
Dick.
Oh, that was good.
No, thanks.
I in hindsight, that should have been the first thing that I thought of.
Probably.
Well, listen, regardless, this movie just made me physically ill.
Oh, wow. Was it, like, gross?
There was just something about the visual presentation that was very disorienting and just made you want to lose your lunch. Like, oh, man, I paid $10 at Red Robin, and now look at me.
Wow.
So that movie, of course, was Suspiria.
Funny you say visually disoriented, because the movie was very visually disorienting. I wouldn't say in a nauseating way, but in a way that might be discombobulating. Is that the right use of that word?
Yes.
Okay. Discombobulating for certain viewers who aren't used to strange camera work and strange, like, colors, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on, but, like, I found it fun because I've been put through the ringer of like art house cinema, and while a lot of it can be shit, there's a few gems in the shit. A few pieces of corn.
A few sprinkles.
Yeah, a few sprinkles on the shit mound. And this is one of those sprinkles. So, it's a horror movie, and again, horror and art house can be a very tricky balance to achieve. Things like Mother! Exclamation point, and I'd say Mandy was kind of an art house horror.
I guess that works.
Or art house thriller, maybe. And it's like these extreme genres that are usually conventionally written, made unconventional and experimental. That can be a very risky thing to do.
Oh,
but
yeah, by its nature, it's not conventional.
Yeah. So they can pay off, and in this case, it did. But anyways, the brief synopsis is it's a dance studio with witches.
Oh, okay.
And this isn't like the fun Looney Tunes Witch Hazel kind of witches. This is like very, 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 very disturbing, like rituals and stuff. And it's a dance studio in Germany in the 1970s. And it draws in all these young, talented women from around the world, and they're all expecting to become like world-class dancers, when in reality, these witches are kind of using them to kind of expand their magical power. And they use the dances, like they teach them specific moves, and the moves can like psychically hurt people.
That's pretty fucking cool.
And at one point, there was someone that they didn't like, and they locked them in a room surrounded by mirrors, and they couldn't escape, and it was like soundproof, and they're like, oh, let me out. And then Dakota Johnson, who's the main character, they had her start to do her little audition, and they showed her the moves and everything, and then they like drew these like little black marks on her, like hands and feet, and those were like somehow connected to the woman in the other room. So she did this really aggressive avant-garde dance, throwing herself around the room, and that threw the other woman around the room, crashing into the walls and stuff, like even harder than Dakota Johnson was throwing herself around. And it got to the point where like her bones were breaking with the like telepathic force she was thrown against the walls. And this was like one of the most brutal like horror scenes. Like no one was directly hitting her. It was like seeing herself kind of do this own damage to her, and it was really disturbing. And it got to a point where like she broke her own jaw and then broke most of the bones in her body, and still she was getting thrown against the wall and getting crumpled up more and more. And that was like in the first, I'd say 40 minutes. It was a bit of a slow buildup at times, but then that really like shocked me into like, oh fuck, I was watching a horror movie, not a weird dance show.
What would have happened if Dakota Johnson did like the Charleston?
The other lady in the room's like, this isn't so bad, and the witches are like, god damn it.
Hello, my baby.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my rag. Killing someone with the Michigan J Frog dance.
You can tell by the way I move it. There are a lot of wonderful dances that I like to just splice in with the imagery of this person horrifically dying.
Oh, yeah. So, Tilda Swinton plays the main dance lady who runs the studio, and she also plays the old guy.
Cool.
And she also plays an ancient witch that's hundreds of years old, covered in, like, weird, rotten fat, and, like, her arm has, like, a little baby arm sticking out of it.
Nice.
It was very bizarre, but the makeup, like, because I couldn't tell at first, like, the old guy's voice sounded kind of weird, and I knew Tilda Swinton played multiple roles, so I was like, is that her? Oh, no, that's just some random German guy. And then, like,
you knew and you were still fooled.
Yeah.
She had to be good then.
She was. If the Academy, like, honored art house stuff, like, she'd be a shoo-in, because she literally played 3 completely different characters. And at one point, there was someone who kind of looked like Tilda Swinton. I'm like, oh, that's the third person she's playing. And actually, no. At the time, I was like, I thought there were only 2 people. And then I see the rotten witch lady, and I'm just like, huh. I guess that's just like some random person. I'm like, oh, that is also Tilda Swinton. Jesus Christ, she's fucking everywhere. And,
Nick.
What?
I'm Tilda Swinton.
What? I loved you in Doctor Strange.
What about Okja?
You were really good in Okja too. That's now that you mention that was an interesting jump because she played 2 pretty unique characters in that too. But in that, you could easily tell it was her at least.
That's true. She played twins, but wow, she has done double roles.
She's a lot like Eddie Murphy.
She fucking did a double role in Hail Caesar. She also played fucking... What the fuck? Why? Tilda Swinton's new contract. I must play multiple characters.
Or else I'm out.
She's multiplying. There's too many Tildas.
I can't keep up.
I never fucking noticed that.
Yeah.
Wow, Tilda Swinton is just... This is bad. People that are trying to make it...
She's taking their roles.
Tilda Swinton gets cast in a movie. Oh, there's half the parts. Like, she is wonderful, though.
She's taking our job. God damn it! Send her back to her country of England.
Those fucking Tildas ruining the economy.
Goddamn Swinton
with their beautiful acting chops
and their mysterious ethereal faces
and that divine hit factor.
But yeah, that was a major highlight for me, and along with the weird horror. But another big aspect of it for me was the score, which is unlike any horror movie music I've heard before, and probably one of my favorites. It's no small coincidence that the person who happened to compose the score also happens to be the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, The Wiggles. It's Radiohead, not The Wiggles.
Well, which one is it?
I mean, he was in both.
That's right.
But it's cool because one of his bandmates, Johnny Greenwood, does Paul Thomas Anderson's scores.
Oh, shit.
And he was doing film scores before Tom York, the guy who did this score, and I was like, when's Tom York going to do the score? Because Johnny is just like the bassist, I think. I hope that's correct, or else I might get assassinated by the Radiohead.
Or the Wiggles.
People. But I was always waiting for the main guy to do his own score, and he didn't disappoint at all, and it was a very haunting score, and unlike anything I really heard before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, sounds like fun, but, be careful, because Tilda Swinton's going to take over the screen.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to see the movie again, like, enjoy your films, sir. And I'm like, thanks, sir, have a great... Oh, wait a minute.
Everyone in the theater that saw it with you is Tilda Swinton.
It's like being Tilda Swinton.
Honey, we have to go. What are you talking?
Like, you go up to the mirror and you're Tilda Swinton. Oh! Being Tilda Swinton. But she's basically the new Eddie Murphy.
Wow.
If you think about it.
That is
when they do the new Nutty Professor reboot, it's gonna be Tilda Swinton.
I've never heard a more promising sentence than Tilda Swinton is the new Eddie Murphy. Wow, here we go.
Yep.
Let me tell you though, in terms of promising things, this movie that I am about to pick out of this hat, it was a very, very promising movie.
Oh, wow. Did it deliver on those promises?
Honestly, it delivered and more.
Oh, wow.
It was incredible.
Oh, boy.
That movie, of course, is Revenge.
Oh, okay. Well,
you remember Revenge?
I do. We saw it. Well, we didn't see it together, but we saw it on our own a few months ago at least.
It was a very simple story.
Yep.
It was about a girl that was killed. Except, she survived.
Because of magic ants.
Well,
Ant-Man.
She just survived.
It was Ant-Man.
It wasn't Ant-Man.
Didn't you see his cameo? It's a Marvel movie.
The fuck are you talking about?
In the Marvel universe.
You've been misinformed.
Oh, man, really? It's DC?
This is not a superhero flick.
Oh.
It is like a French indie movie.
An exploitation thriller.
How could you possibly think that this was tied into the Avengers?
I mean, I would say it would be pretty edgy of Disney to do a rape and revenge film.
Yeah, oh, right. Jeez, I feel like an idiot to forget that she was also raped before she was murdered.
Yeah, when I was reading up on it, I was looking at the genre, and it said rape and revenge, and I was just like, it's clickable, and I was just like, well, that shouldn't be clickable. That's just like two words that are bad.
Rape and revenge.
It was started in the 70s, I think, and it started with movies like I Spit on Your Grave, where something horrible's done to a woman, and then she gets revenge.
Well, I mean, I guess I think we'd both like to live in a world without rape.
Yeah.
But I guess if rape exists in the world,
it should at least have revenge.
I think that can be an empowering genre, I suppose.
Yeah, I just wish that there wasn't so much of the former and more of the latter.
Yeah, I mean, yes. But revenge was that.
Yep.
She, basically, it was just a very tense story of her hunting down the three guys that fucked her over.
Yep.
And she kills them in the exact order that you would want her to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too easy for her, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just tense, but it's such a simple story, and it's great because you just care. You care about this girl. You don't need to know much about her, but you know she's a good person.
Yeah.
She got fucked over, and now you want to see these assholes that fucked her over die.
Right, yeah.
And so it's bare bones, but it's great.
And it delivers on its promises.
Yeah.
My only regret was that the deaths weren't more violent. They were pretty violent, but I go back to a movie like I Spit on Your Grave, where she had a guy hang over a tub of lye that slowly rose up and slowly melted him, or the part where she chops a guy's dick off and stuffs it down his throat. And I'm like, a movie about female empowerment through violence should at least have one castration, I feel like.
That's interesting. And I suppose there is an argument to be made that it was maybe not as satisfying as it could be with the deaths.
Taking a man's power away, especially a rapist, take his power away. His power is his penis, and
well, also his power is his life.
That's true. Yeah, that also helps him. Yeah,
and she took that power away.
She definitely took that away. It was still satisfying,
and it was so interesting because there was a lot of skin being shown in this movie. The main character, especially, I mean, you could say it was sexy. And not necessarily in a way to objectify her, but,
yeah.
It was a very bold look, I guess you could say. But then in the final tense chase that was between, basically this girl is hunting down the main guy.
Yep.
He had been in the shower, and he was completely fucking naked.
Yeah.
For this entire really tense hunt. Mm-hmm. And it was just so interesting because he's completely nude. She is barely wearing clothes.
Yeah.
And ordinarily, you would see this much skin and it would be associated with something
sensual.
Yes. And yet, you were not thinking about anything remotely romantic or sexual in this moment. It was
absolutely not.
It was very fascinating to see nudity put into a context devoid of sexuality.
Yeah, you don't see that much.
Yeah, instead it just felt really carnal, and that's it's something I really liked about it. It was a little subliminal, I think.
Primitive, yeah.
Man, what a scene that was. And yeah, I don't know. Part of me wanted to see the main guy die harder than he did, but at the same time, he
still was slipping on his own blood.
Yeah, and he definitely had his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
And it was satisfying that it wasn't too easy for the girl, because if it was, it would not have been nearly as tense.
Right.
So, Revenge was great. It's also just a very vibrant movie, too.
Yeah, it had really cool colors and stuff.
Yeah, and technically, I mean, it was kind of in two languages. Some of it was French, but then some of it was English.
Yeah, because the girl, I think, was American.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Revenge is good. It's upsetting that the genre exists, but if you're looking for something in that genre,
Then-
I'd pick this.
Or look it up and look at the other hundreds of movies that have been happening since the 70s, which is a little alarming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick something a little less heavy from this hat.
Yeah, well, that,
wait,
that could be good.
Did I pick that last one?
I don't think... I'm
I
thinking
picked-
back...
I picked 2 in a row.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh, my nanny knows. So you have to pick...
2 in a row?
Hold on. Yeah, 2 in a row.
All right, well,
So get picking, buddy.
I'll do that. This movie was shot in the desert. The Revenge also took place in the desert. But this was entirely shot in the desert. There were no other scenes. It was very experimental. It only had one person acting in it, so it was very unique and avant-garde. And it was The House with a Clock in Its Walls.
So here's what I know about this movie.
Yep.
I see the title, and this is a very juvenile thing, but I just think The House with the Cock in Its Balls. And it's
Naturally.
It's so dumb, but that gets me out of bed in the morning.
Just that title, every day you just think of that title.
A house with a cock in its balls. Time to start the day. Take a shower with a smile on my face. Something about it, man. But all right, tell me about the house with the clock in its balls.
I love the balls especially. Okay, so a little bit of background. I wanted to see this movie because the original writer for it wrote a bunch of gothic kids stories back in I think the 50s and then through the 70s and 80s and maybe 90s. But he was kind of like R.L. Stine before R.L. Stine existed. He had his own narrative cycles, and he had mini series involving different young kids, because it was kind of written for middle schoolers, but it had some really good scary stories, and some of them still haunt me. One called The Eyes of the Killer Robot, and it was a robot that had human eyes.
Wow. Cool.
That's what I was reading in middle school. I was a little goth kid. And one image that it doesn't still give me nightmares, but I think about it, I'm I might have a nightmare about that tonight, is in that book, the main character sees in the rain a guy wandering around, and he turns around and his eyes are gone, and he's just they took them. And then he just wanders off, and you're where'd he go? Oh God, he could be anywhere. And he never comes up again, but I kept expecting him to just show up behind me.
Wow, this is some really demented stuff.
Yeah, and
A House with the Cock in Its Balls did not seem that demented.
No,
It
it didn't. John Belair's, though, he had whimsical stories, but the whimsy gives way every so often to gothic horror, which is a lot of fun. And this, I think, honored that tradition in its own way. It's interesting because his stories were so good, I feel and this, I think, is one of the only adaptations of it. He was a junior Stephen King of his day, I feel
And is this the thing you would expect to be adapted?
It is one of his most popular books, so if he was going to adapt anything, that would make sense, but I would have picked something else. But it still was really good. And
the book or the movie?
The movie and also the book.
Okay.
But I haven't read the book in a while. But anyways, to the actual movie itself, it's interesting because Jack Black was in another kids horror movie, the first Goosebumps.
I think he was in the second one that came out the same month.
That's right. And he played R.L. Stine. So that's an interesting connection. But he was a lot of fun in this as a unconventional wizard, and he's the uncle of the main character, who's this little kid who has to move to this new town because his parents died in a tragic automobile accident. And much in John Belair's fashion, they have some really adult themes that kids have to deal with. And so he's living in this new world, and he's like in this strange old mansion, and then he's seeing spooky things in the corner of his eye, and he's like, maybe it's just the stress, or maybe I'm dreaming, and then his uncle's like, yeah, I'm a fucking wizard.
Or is it warlock?
It's a warlock, yeah.
Goodness.
And Kate Blanchett is his goofy neighbor, and she does magic too, and they occasionally insult each other, like, you're an old bag, like, haha, you're fat. And there's some banter.
You're the reason
there.
your mother killed herself. Like, whoa.
Whoa, Kate Blanchett. That was out of line. I said it and I fucking mean it. But there was some fun banter there, and the kid was, charming in his awkward struggles because he's always buried in books, and he goes to school, and the kids bully him, and, it's the traditional, like, middle schooler whose life sucks thing. So it was perfect for me as a child. The reason it's titled that, as a little sidetrack, is because the original owner of the house put a clock somewhere in it, and Jack Black spends a lot of the movie trying to find where it is because it's driving him crazy. And one night the main character sees Jack Black like axing through a wall, and he's just like, my uncle's a fucking murderer. And he's just like, I'm just trying to find the clock in the walls, or in your case, the cock in the balls. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's sane. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was written and directed by... Well, I know it was directed by Eli Roth, but I think he helped write the screenplay too. Which, if you know anything about movies, which I guess we don't really know that much about, but I happen to know that Eli Roth directed The Green Inferno, which is a movie about cannibals in South America. He did Cabin Fever, which is a horror film about a bunch of teenage kids going insane through some evil disease. He did the Hostel trilogy, which is about people ending up in a European hostel and being killed for sport, and a lot of really fucked up horror and thriller movies. He also played the Bear Jew in Inglourious Basterds, so the last place I expected him to go was a kids movie, but for his first kids movie, and maybe only, I don't fucking know, I think he did a pretty good job. He also made a cameo in his own movie, naturally, like his buddy Quentin Tarantino likes to do, where he played an evil Nazi scientist. So that was kind of funny.
In a house with the cock in his balls? He was a Nazi scientist?
Or a Nazi villain that was stopped by, like, this Captain America type character, because it was set in the 1950s where, that type of show was on.
So it was a show within the movie.
Yeah.
That he made a cameo in.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is lucid to me.
Yes, quite. But one scene that really stood out that you'd be particularly disturbed by is when they track down the evil wizard. He's in a giant clock tower type thing, and there's like cogs turning everywhere. And he's turning back. What he wants to do is turn back time before humans existed and then prevent all humanity from ever existing, because the evil wizard was in World War II and he witnessed the horrors of it, and he's like, humanity doesn't deserve to live because it's capable of such awful destruction. So the good parts don't matter enough in the grand scheme of things, so I just want to erase everything. And as he's turning back time, the first thing that's affected is Jack Black. And it doesn't affect all of him. And from below his head, the rest of his body becomes a baby's body. But his head remains the same size adult head.
I see nothing wrong with this.
And he's crying in, like, Jack Black unaltered adult voice.
Oh, it's not even pitched up.
It is voice. Pitched a little bit, I think, but there's just a CGI baby body attached to his head, and it's fucking horrifying. And little Lewis is just carrying his half infant uncle, and he's just like, don't worry, I'll protect. And I'm just like, he's holding Jack Black's head, which is abnormally large to his infant body, and I'm just like,
seeing Jack Black's now baby penis.
it also showed his ass, his baby ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he fucking peed all over the place because he said earlier in the scene, like, oh man, I have to pee. And I thought that was random at first. And then when I see this baby fucking peeing all over the place, I see. So they established he had to pee specifically so you could have scary Jack Black baby pee all over this child.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah, what?
You didn't say anything this whole time.
You think I wouldn't see a house with a cock in its balls?
How did you know about did you actually see it for reals?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say anything?
I just did.
Right near when I was like about to start wrapping up.
I had to contribute during the baby pee scene.
Okay, well, all right, that's fair. So that's most of what I had to say. Now that I took up most of the space that I was hoping, that I assumed you wouldn't be able to add that much to, would you like to add some stuff?
Kate Blanchett was hot. I mean, I saw the movie mostly because I liked the idea of Jack Black and Kate Blanchett being together. Mm-hmm. And I do think that it made a pretty decent team up, but I just didn't feel like I got to see them enough.
Yeah. It's more about the kid, I guess.
They didn't do all that much magic, I felt, overall.
No.
So, it didn't really deliver on the only things I wanted from it. I didn't really care about the little boy.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I'm a little boy. I'm like, okay, fuck off.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yes, Jack Black baby nightmare was something I won't soon be forgetting.
Okay.
You know, one thing gets me up in the morning, well, that keeps me up at night. So I don't sleep anymore.
Just haunted by his baby body.
I spend 8 waking hours, bloodshot eyes, thinking about
CGI
baby
head.
Jack Black. And then the sun rises, and I go, house with a cock in its balls. And then
Everything's okay again.
jump out of bed. My doctor says, at a certain point, you're gonna fucking die.
You need sleep to survive.
But yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did think it was creepy that it was implied that the neighbor was killed, so one of the bad people could shapeshift into the neighbor.
Yeah, that was really interesting. His the evil wizard guy's wife.
That's some dark shit.
Yep.
And there was some dark stuff peppered in here, but
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought it was interesting that popular kid, because you wouldn't expect the popular kid to be friendly to the nerdy kid, but
Yeah.
I actually felt that he was mostly actually kind of sticking up for the kid and being friendly, and you could tell he was trying to protect his reputation sometimes.
Yeah.
But he never felt like he really betrayed him or became an asshole exactly.
Though he did pressure him into using an evil magic book, and I feel like he wanted to do that for his own benefit eventually.
But it also just seems like a kind of, oh, cool, show me more sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ultimately, House with the Cock in its balls. I just wish there was a little more to it.
A little more cock in the balls.
Yeah, maybe if I read the books, I would feel a little
I
more
just
into
had
it.
like it was a part of it was nostalgia for me because I don't know a lot of other kids who like read it, so it felt like a special experience for me.
Good.
Yeah.
And Jack Black Baby, that
That was not a special experience. That was a nightmare.
you sure it wasn't at least a little bit special?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, I have a feeling what's going to be special is the next movie you pick out of this hat.
Oh, I bet.
Wow, there's not a lot of wrestling anymore.
Nope.
This is a sad time.
Oh, man. I'm going to get emotional. Don't remind me. All right. Anyway, this movie got me emotional in a very different way.
Oh?
It filled me with a righteous fury at the injustice in this world we must contend with every waking hour.
Oh, my.
Yep, and that movie is 211.
2-on-1. Hey, that's the Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh man, there's another Nicolas Cage movie this year?
I mean, there's probably always 4 Nicolas Cage movies.
At least 4 a year. If he does under 4, he's not doing his job.
This was not a Mandy.
So it wasn't an artistic masterpiece.
No, I mean, I suppose there is an argument to be made for that, but
we're not going to do that.
I would be enchanted to meet the person that could make that argument.
I'm sure they're out there.
I'm trying to even remember what this was. 2-on-1. I think it's actually 211. I want to say 211, like 911. It's like, you might know 911, but what about the first date? But like,
the number they had before 911.
But I think it's actually 211. I'm pretty sure someone in the movie went, we got a 211!
Oh, it's like one of those cop codes they use when something bad's happening.
For shitty movie.
Do you remember what the cop code was for?
No, I don't know that they specified. I can tell you what happened. I guess there were bad guys.
Okay.
And I think they were trying to rob a bank, but then there was a shootout.
Uh-oh.
The problem is Nicolas Cage was a cop, but he had a ride-along with him, someone they'd picked up.
Awkward.
And I think the gimmick was this ride-along was filming stuff, and the cop's like, hey, put that camera down. But he kept filming, and he got a real good camera angle of this ongoing shootout.
Oh, boy.
You know, people died probably, and bullets went bajoom.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, wow. That's intense.
That's all I got. Listen, I can't tell you much about this movie.
Okay.
Here,
that's fair.
You are allowed one penetrating question that I will do my best to answer.
Okay. Was it a commentary on police corruption or, like, injustice in the world and how there's no blacks and whites, there's only shades of gray in terms of good and evil?
Sure.
All right.
Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
this next movie that I'm making is going to be just that.
Okay.
It's, of course, the hit movie Blockers.
Oh. If I recall correctly from the trailers, it was more about parents trying to stop their teenage children from losing their virginity?
Yes. And get ready, Nick. I'm about to say the one thing I liked about the movie.
Oh boy, here we go.
I felt that they tackled kids losing their virginity in a mature way. You know, one of them was thinking, you know what? I'm not really feeling it. I know it's prom, you're supposed to lose your virginity, but I don't really want to. One of them was in a really nice relationship. It was a really special moment. They lost their virginity and went, it was good, it was special, this is okay. And then one of them was like, I'm a lesbian, surprise! And, I guess I think she was saying she wanted to lose her virginity, but surprise lesbian. But nonetheless, they dealt with that maturely.
Alright.
The rest of the movie didn't really match in terms of maturity because you got John Cena drinking beer out of his butt.
No, butt chug.
Yeah. And then, you know, they're speeding, going, well, we gotta get the girls. Do this thing I saw in Fast and Furious. Are you sure it'll work? Yeah! Oh no, our car exploded. Oh, jeez. We gotta go into this dance to stop these girls from having sex.
Wait, a dance?
We're grown people, yeah, like prom or whatever.
Oh, I thought you meant they were dancing.
Well, they probably did to blend in or some dumb shit. Like, hello, we're grown people at this dance, doodly-doo. And I feel like there are too many scenes where these 3 parents just kind of walked in on naked people.
Oh.
I feel like that kept happening.
Naked teenagers?
Well, there were 2 people having sex at one point, and they're like, oh, geez, that's awkward. And then there was another point where 2 people are just having like a naked game.
Oh.
Where they're just going around being naked.
Why was it a game?
I don't know. I guess they were just having fun being naked.
Were they doing chess naked?
I don't know. They were just playing a game where they wanted to like. It's like naked tag with blindfolds. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I gotcha.
Just lots of butts. Man butts, if I don't know if that's any consolation.
It does even things out.
But I don't know. There might have been a line or two where I went, ah, yes, that, indeed.
Humor. Quite.
But it was just three. I think they were all single parents, which was weird. One of them might have been divorced or something. There might have been a dead dad or something. But yeah, three separate parents for three separate kids. Just trying to stop them from fucking and then learning their lessons. And I didn't care. I mean, I guess I was happy a movie came out and said, hey, it's okay for teenagers to have sex, okay? Because they very easily could have not said that.
Right.
Feeling, you should be abstinent until you're married. And that almost would have fit better. I leave the movie and go, yes, this was wholly bad. Like, it has fulfilled its destiny. But no, they just had to throw in a fairly good moral there. Yeah, I don't care about 211 or blockers.
Oh, well, yeah, they seem pretty bland.
Yeah, it really mellowed me out for the end here.
I guess. You sound kind of exhausted.
You know, Nick, I actually think that we're going to have to end the grab bag there, which I wish we could say, hey, we got through all the movies, but there's actually one left in this hat.
Ah, so close.
So close,
Yet so
but
far.
Yeah, I mean, we can still say it was a journey. It kind of feels like we got through a lot of movies that have been sitting around for a while.
We did. It was quite a pile we sorted through.
Yeah, I mean, Blockers was all the way back in March, but yeah, we got one more movie left, and by the time we get to it, there will probably be more movies in that hat. So
Yeah.
So it goes, but that's fine. We can end now, and well, actually, you know, this could be interesting because essentially there is a place doing karaoke where Nick and I live, and it's something that we could theoretically go to after this recording. But this might be an interesting thing to share because Nick and I were talking about this earlier. Basically, you're probably familiar enough with the fact that there are a lot of bars and places that do karaoke, right? That I guess that was for the listeners, but I'm also asking you, Nick.
Oh, it sounded like a rhetorical, but yes, yep.
Yes. So, I don't know, because they do karaoke. Okay, cool. People are singing. It's essentially music is the entertainment. And yet, a lot of these places, you call them and say, hey, we have a band. You want us to do some music? And they go, no thanks. And it just seems perplexing because they have karaoke there, but they don't want to have live music. But they already have live music, you know what I mean?
More or less, and if in a way it's worse than live music because most of these people don't have any kind of musical talent. They just go up there and sing words off a screen. There's no talent to that.
Yeah, especially compared to Blinkity Bloop.
It's absurd.
I don't know. I guess what do we think about that, listeners? Not that it feels weird to me. It feels weird that you would have karaoke and not a live performance. And basically, I was telling Nick that we could more or less just do karaoke, but we can kind of bring our own backing music and just perform our own song. And more or less, it kind of becomes live music. You know what I mean? It's like we can repurpose karaoke and turn it into a Blinkity Bloop experience. I feel like there's something to be tapped into there.
Yeah, the one thing I worry about, though, is would the bartender or whoever, the manager of the place, be okay with us bringing our own, stuff to run our own karaoke? Because, they have their own computer that scrolls through the lyrics and plays the music. We'd have to get different stuff, I feel like.
All we have to do is just get them a USB drive that just has the instrumental track that we want to use, which is going to be our own instrumental track, and we don't need them to pull up lyrics because we know our own stuff.
Right, but that wouldn't really be entirely karaoke then, and they may not like that because it doesn't fit their format, is what I'm thinking.
But it sounds like karaoke. If the manager is just listening to see, hey, is everything going well with karaoke night? It's going to sound like regular karaoke. And, plus I like to think that people are pretty familiar with the music of Blinkity Bloop, so they're going to think, okay, here's another, big song. It's going to blend right in with the other big songs that people are singing.
Yeah, I see your point. It's just more often than not, the songs people do sing on karaoke night are extremely popular, like top of the chart type songs. And while I'd like to be there, being honest with myself, we're not.
Well, we will be.
We will be, but at this
and we deserve
moment,
to be.
We do deserve to be, but at this moment we're not. And so I feel like the manager would notice that and be bothered that people aren't being drawn in by typical popular songs.
Well, I don't think there's an expectation that you have to do certain songs at karaoke, so, we can just play it off like it's another karaoke song. I'm not going to say it's obscure music, because Blinkity Bloop is definitely not obscure. But,
No, definitely not.
It's just an alternative song, which I even hate to use that word to describe us, but, I think it would fit right in, but most importantly, I think it's a way that we could really create a concert experience in a place where they don't seem to want a concert experience. We can basically prove to them, you think that this isn't a Blinkity Bloop concert, but guess what it is? Because we can just request as many Blinkity Bloop songs as we want, as long as we give them the instrumental music. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, we're almost tricking them into letting us use their venue for free.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we won't get paid.
No.
Which, is usually preferable.
Right.
But, on the other hand, it would also allow people the opportunity to do karaoke of Blinkity Bloop songs, which, I mean, I'm not sure how they decide what songs are going to be included in karaoke, but
I think they pick.
It really is annoying that they haven't selected Blinkity Bloop songs yet, because I really think that all karaoke should include Blinkity Bloop songs in their big books that they have. Seem to have all songs under the sun, and yet you never see Blinkity Bloop.
No.
So, that would be, I mean, given I guess we'd have to provide lyrics too. We'd have to find a way to kind of work our way into their system, but hey, well, I mean, then we could kind of blend in more, right? If you think about it, we get Blinkity Bloop songs into the karaoke manuals, and then we could just go up and perform a Blinkity Bloop song that's actually in the book, but it's a concert. It's gonna look like karaoke to everyone, but we'll know that it's a concert that we're doing.
But how would we get in the karaoke book? How would we get into their computer system with our scrolling lyrics?
Well, we gotta figure that one out.
Do we know any karaoke people?
No, but, we'll make a phone call. We'll figure it out.
Google it.
I think we're onto something really interesting there.
I think you might be right.
Because we can have concerts without ever needing people to want us to have a concert. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like secret concerts in a way.
Yeah. I like this. This sounds really cool.
Yeah.
But until then, if you like the idea of music or other audio things, come to Fisherman's Media for all of your audio needs. They're the people that are bringing this podcast to you, Blinkity Bloop, the podcast.
Not the band.
They specialize in movies. Movies is what they do. I know that it seems like they've specialized in things that aren't movies, but they're movie people.
They really want movie stuff.
Yeah, so just make sure that you bring your movies on over if you're doing big movies or small movies. Big movies especially.
For sure.
Big movies.
Yeah.
Big movies come over to Fisherman's Media.
Yep.
And they'll do your audio and other audio things that aren't movies, but just audio. Fisherman's Media, audio stuff.
Uh-huh.
All right. And hopefully we're going to be able to get into some karaoke books.
Yeah.